Hi, everyone. I'm Mark from Samaritan's Well. This is our fourth in a series of podcasts on overcoming shame. We've covered the overview. We've covered some of the ways that shame gets in, how to recognize shame, and now we're going to talk about some of the profound ways that shame is healed. Of course, I've got a few minutes, so I'm going to give you an overview. But one of the things that I have to start with is I run towards reality and not away. I run towards reality and not away. So let's look at John 8:32. In John 8:32, Jesus is talking about truth. He's talking about reality. For if you embrace the truth, it will release freedom or more freedom into your lives. Another version says, for you will know or intimately know the truth, and the truth will make you free. So what happens with shame says, yes, you're bad, avoid thinking about it. God says, if you'll go to that place of shame and embrace it, whatever it is, grace will always abound more than sin. The key issue with healing is I have to go from looking at that shameful thing done to me or done by me. I have to go from looking at it with binoculars to looking at it with a magnifying glass. I have to get up close and personal. If you embrace the truth, not if you see it from across the room or across the valley. So the first thing I have to do is I have to move towards reality and not away. I have to embrace it. The second thing is I have to own and confess the sins for myself, or, it could even be that I confess and own the sin of my generations before me. Maybe my dad said things to me and spoke things to me that put shame on me. Some parents say you should be ashamed of yourself. You are shameful for this. You are bad versus you did bad. And so I have to own or confess those things that were either put on me, spoken to me, done to me, or done by me. Either way, I have to own them, and there's grace that abounds as I move in embrace and confess that sin, whether it's done to me or done by me. So I run towards the reality and not away. I own and confess and then grieve. Grieving is a key part of overcoming shame. I may have been bullied for 3 years in grade school, and I decided I'm never going to think about that again. But there's a deep grief and shame about that bullying, about that mocking. I go back to it because it's unresolved. I tell people it's fine to bury things, just don't bury them alive. The things that have been buried alive are the things that are dragging me down today. I go back to it so I can grieve it. I can own whatever's there. I can forgive the people involved. Now it can be buried and it can rest in peace. But in Romans chapter 8, verse 1, I want you to hear this total contradiction to shame, because this is a verse that really I want you to embrace, maybe perhaps memorize. In the Passion Translation, Romans 8:1, so now the case is closed. There remains no accusing voice of condemnation against those who are joined in life union with Jesus, the Anointed One. There remains no accusing voice of condemnation against those who are joined in life union with Jesus. So I'm moving towards the reality of whatever the sin is. I own, I confess, I grieve, but I'm moving towards the reality that God has taken, that the Lord has taken all condemnation from me, that the accusing voice has been shut. There's no condemnation for those who are in Christ Jesus. So what am I doing? When I am moving towards reality, I'm inviting others in to my life. I'm inviting God into my life. It's the opposite of what shame has done, to say, no, you're too shameful, move away from God and others. hide, run, escape, deny, stay busy, stay high, stay drunk, whatever. But as you face the reality, you begin to get a revelation of the freedom because God meets you at that painful place. While we were yet sinners, Christ died for us. That's Romans chapter 4. So the increase of God's government, the Messiah's government, and peace, there will be no end. Think about that. That's from Isaiah 9:7. I have these pockets of condemnation or shame. Maybe it's from my family of origin. Maybe it's from years of certain sin that I did. Maybe it's from my years of rebellion, or it could be from sexual abuse or something done to me. But I feel that condemnation. As I invite God into those places and say, Lord, I'm letting you govern. I'm letting you be in charge of this place. But I don't do it from a distance. Remember, I do it with the magnifying glass. There's peace that comes in. The evidence that I've allowed him and invited him in is that there's peace. If there's not peace, there's something still missing. So I have to invite him in to nullify, to neutralize, to destroy the condemnation. And what does James 5:16 say? It says, confess your faults one to another. Pray for one another so that you may be healed. That word is even less than a sin. It could just be a bad habit. It could be a bad thought pattern. You confess it. You let someone see you and know you, and then you know them. You pray for each other. There's no condemnation, and there's freedom from shame as I come to God and I come to others. But you have to have the courage to own it. As long as I'm in pride or denial, the condemnation and the shame will never be neutralized. I have to have the courage to say, I'm going to tell my brother, my sister in Christ. I'm going to tell the Lord. I'm going to tell my counselor, my pastor. I'm going to tell my best friend. I'm going to tell my spouse about something that I've never told them because I'm so ashamed. Then the breakthrough can start happening. When I start to let you see me, and yes, even let God see me. Adam needed to come out from hiding. Eve needed to come out from hiding. And then what happened? God provided his own covering for them. They didn't have to make their own puny attempts at covering themselves. So I pray for you to have the courage to face these things, to know the truth, to intimately know the truth, because that is what is going to set you free. And I want you to remember that where sin abounds, grace abounds even more. There's no condemnation for those who are in Christ Jesus. I hope this helps. And remember, you can reach us for all our resources at SamaritansWell.com. Thanks.